Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome.
Just give me one. They gave me 2 books in the same box.
Is it the same book?
It's the same book.
Let me see it.
How's this possible? How to build ballistae, trebuchets, and right?
More Ancient Artillery. William Gustel.
This is the same book. How did I get 2 of them?
Well, that's cool.
Unless it came into the other trebuchet. Oh, okay. Hey, you take one home with you. Read.
Yeah. I will. I'll read one and highlight it. Cool.
Yeah, because this was for the. We build a.
Just toss it over there by my bag. That's cool.
This is for the catapult. Andre and I have a trebuchet in there.
Okay. What's the difference between a catapult and a trebuchet?
Don't make me Google this.
The trebuchet is the one that you have to use the momentum to throw it, and the catapult is ratcheted back, right? That's the difference. The trebuchet is the one, like traditionally they'd light the fucking thing and they pull it and they let it go.
That has to be the catapult.
And it come back like that. And the catapult was the one that you could actually manually crank fucking back. So you're using the leverage of it already being cranked back.
No, the trebuchet is the one that they crank back. Remember, that's the one that they pull.
The older one, yeah.
They pull all the way down. It's weighted on the other side.
Yeah.
Attached to send the projectile going across.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah. And then the catapults, once they figured out how to do it and put it on fucking wheels instead of having to build it in place. That's cool.
Oh, I should ballast.
Those things are fucking cool, dude.
We should build one. Are we going again?
We can.
Are you crazy?
We can.
Are you crazy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I have a little craziness.
Well, yeah, man. The next one's Die Laughing. I mean, why wouldn't we jump into Ethos of Silence and get us a chapter 20 of Die Laughing?
Yeah.
The warrior's sense of humor is dry and dark. So far, they're not wrong. Its purpose is to deflect fear and to reinforce unity and cohesion. Okay. The warrior ethos dictates that soldiers make a joke of pain and laugh at the adversity. Here's Leonidas on the final morning of Thermopylae. Now eat good breakfast, men, for we'll all be sharing dinner in hell.
That is definitely his...
Definitely, right?
Phrase, yeah.
Spartans like to keep things short. Once one of their generals captured a city, he dispatched home crying, "City taken." They find him for being that's weird. So the river of Athens is the Cryptus. The river in Spartan is the Etropus. One time the Athens and Spartans were trading insults. "We have burned many Spartans," said the Athenians, "beside the river." Yes.
You're not going to believe this.
Replied the Spartans, "But we have burned no Athenians beside the river." What? Yeah. Cool. Alexandria and the Maldives. Yeah. So how they use the trebuchets or catapults or different things toward their tactical victories.
Alexander of Macedonia, how he ascended to the throne, how his father died, Alexander on the march, the siege of Tyre. Oh. Like this book just landed right in our domain, our lap.
Right. Craziness.
We're the keepers of it.
In Sparta, the law was to keep everything simple. Yeah. Once ordinance decreed that you could not finish a roof beam without any tool finer than a hatchet. So all the roof beams in Sparta were basically logs. Once the Spartans were visiting the Athenians and he lost showing off his own mansion, complete with finely detailed square roof beams, the Spartans asked the Athenians if trees grew square in Athens. Oh, shit. No, of course not, said the Athenians. But round as trees grow everywhere. And if they grew square, asked the Spartans, would you make them round? Boy, I tell you what, that sounds like a Marine answer right there, huh?
I'm telling you that.
If they grew square, would you make them round? Fuck. Probably the most famous warrior quipped of all time. This has got to be good. Was at Thermopylae. When the Spartans first occupied the pass, they had yet to see the army of the Persian invaders. They heard it was big, but they had no idea how big. As the Spartans were preparing their defense positions, the sight of the pass came racing into camp. Out of breath and wide-eyed in terror, he had seen the Persian horde approaching. As a tiny contingent of defenders gathered around, the man declared that the Persians were so numerous that when the archers fired their volleys, the massive arrows would block out the sun. Good, declared. Then we'll fight in the shade.
Fight in the shade.
Leonidas remarked about sharing dinner in hell are worth noting. First, they're not jokes. They're dead on, but they're not delivered for laughs. They're delivered for morale, and they give laughs because that's the secondary thing that comes from them. But secondary, they don't solve the problem. Neither remark offers hope or promise a happy ending. They're not inspirational. The delivery of these quips do not point to glory or triumph or seek to ally their comrades' anxiety by holding out the idea of hope and victory. The remarks confront reality. They say, some heavy shit is coming down, brothers, and we're going to go through it together. Lastly, the remarks are inclusive. They're about us. Whatever ordeal's coming, the company will undergo it together. Leonidas quickly draws the individuals out of the private terror, yokes them in a group. Even the 300 is lean. It leaves out almost every fact of the battle. The stakes, the event, the date, the war, the reason for it all. It assumes that the reader knows it all already and begins his own emotions. Go to the Spartans. Strangers pass by there. Observe their laws. We lie. The language of the warrior ethos is private. It speaks warrior to warrior and doesn't care if outsiders get it or not.
We just talked about that in 5.0. You can't understand what I'm trying to tell you.
We're hitting on this over and over
for
again.
Me to tell you.
The only people we're talking to
are veterans.
That's it.
No.
we might be talking to some historian,
possibly, maybe even some trauma.
Who knows way
stress.
more about this than we do, and they've experienced stress in their life, right?
Yeah, I've got a lot of likeness from the stress disorders from other people.
But until you've been in a combat zone, right? Not taken away from anybody who's ever not deployed and all these other different things.
No.
I mean, I'm just lucky enough to be dealt a shitty set of orders from the Marine Corps and deployed to 4 different fucking combat zones.
Yep.
Lucky me, right?
And it's a spiritual thing. It doesn't matter where you landed at in the zone. If you were if you had a hand in what happened in that,
you were a cog in the wheel.
You were spiritually attached to it, and therefore experienced a lot of what was going on in that battle. We live a different war nowadays, and I don't know why it's so impactful. But I was seeing other individuals that were way outside of the combat zone and still experiencing lots of stress.
Yeah, but that's the academies of war, right? So that's training warriors, right? So even though we train warriors, the warriors can develop that stress, develop everything else, right? Police officers, firefighters, everybody else is trained to do these highly, not really skilled, but highly dedicated jobs that the minutest error can cause harm to somebody, right? And in these fields, we're trying to prevent the most damage, right? So a firefighter is trying to save as much stuff as possible, right? And they're trying to, but in the process, they are upset that they couldn't save everybody, upset that the house still burned to the ground, that despite all their training, they finally get called out to a fucking fire, and they can, and by minimizing the fire, they have to let 4 houses burn to the fucking ground. Or like in California, you're out there doing the different stuff.
He ran into the fire to save a life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very much similar. You're right.
Or the life you couldn't save, right? So living with all those regrets, living with all that stuff, right?
For sure.
We
have a very, very keen likeness to a fireman.
Yeah, and then the same with the police officers going out there on the beat every day, not knowing what's going to happen, and then the fact of pulling a gun and shooting somebody prior to whatever, and turns out they had a water gun. Turns out it was this. Turns out it was that. Turns out, you don't know the age of the kid that pulled the fucking weapon on you.
No, it's a daily battle these guys go through.
Yeah,
absolutely is something that stems from their day to day.
So the academies of war, right? So you can understand the ethos whenever you go through different things, right? So we're talking to a select breed of people, but then whenever you start talking about the external things, you're talking about the actual firefighter who had to fight a fire and hasn't been just training, right? He went into a burning building and evacuated people, or did the drills and did all this other different stuff. We're talking about a cop who was in a shootout. We're talking about military members who've been shot at. We're talking about military members who've been in combat zones, who've seen bombs go off, who've disarmed stuff right there.
Life-threatening experiences.
Yeah. So that's when you start to get into the external conflicts, right? That we're diving into with a lot of this stuff. But it's still the same warrior ethos that we build that makes us very, very unique individuals.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, because if we were all the same, it'd be really, really fucking boring.
It'd be so boring, man. Be so without any kind of cause of action. But our definite stories are like-minded to keeping us together. So many stories that I want to hear about that weave a web of all the events that have happened over the last decades across the globe. Very interesting stuff.
I think I forgot that the 3rd chapter of these were internal wars. Oh, man.
Inner wars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to dive into some of the silence right there.
Okay. Okay. There's some ethos in here. I don't know if you want to pick it up. I don't know if that's ethos.
It's warrior. It's warrior.
Okay.
We'll leave ethos, the warrior ethos book, and we'll come up with our own little series that is based off of that. We might just call it Catapult and Trebuchets and call it that series, and we'll go through that book.
I'm going to get a lot of people interested to hit the like button and find their way to this.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, we found it. It's The Art of the Catapult, and never judge a book by its cover. This is the epitome of this.
So very, very interesting. Way to hint at it, but
Okay.
we'll jump into it and do it alone. This will be a short one.
Okay.
You got any final words?
Nope. Love yourself. Love one another. Check on your battle buddies. The night is darkest before the dawn. Just hang on.
Hell yeah, just hang
We
on,
all
baby.
made it past it.
Iron sharpens iron. That's what we're doing here.
Love yourself. Love one another. Take care.
Ethos of Silence. We're out.
We out. If you need more information on veterans benefits, please visit our website at VFWPost4224.org. That's Victor Foxtrot Whiskey, post4224.org. All of our contact information is in the description of the video. Please email us if you have any questions. We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.